Okay, welcome everybody to another, somebody saying they can't hear me. Can you hear me yet? Make sure you turn your speaker on. No sound. Okay. Oh, some people are saying they can hear me fine. So if somebody can hear me and somebody can't, then it has to be your sound, your speaker. So please check your speaker, turn up your volume on your computer. Many times that's the problem. Um, and we will keep rolling, and this will be recorded so you can listen to it later if you still can't figure out your volume. Of course, you can't even hear me if you can't figure out your volume. So what am I talking about? All right, so let's get going. All right, so a couple housekeeping things that I say every Zoom call. Make sure you look for questions in our website at our blog. You can search this little thing on our website, and then you can search for a question so you don't have to wait till the Zoom call. But now you have this wonderful patient membership site. We've been waiting a long time to finish this and get this done. Dustin and myself have worked long and hard to do this. So I hope everybody appreciates it. And more than that, even if you don't appreciate it, hope you use it. So this is where you need to submit your questions. So if you have not been on the patient membership site, search your email the email that is your main email that you used to start with us, that was on your intake form that you gave us as your main email, and search for either info@connersclinic.com, because that's where your welcome letter, your email should have come from. Last Thursday, we launched this. So last Thursday at noon, this site was launched, and every one of you should have gotten an email from info@connersclinic.com saying, welcome to Conners Clinic patient membership site. And this is how you log in. So you log in via that email that you gave us, and then you create your own password. So if you haven't done that, please do that. You can also search for membership and look for Conners Clinic, because you should see it there. So we do still have been receiving some questions via an email to Conners Clinic or my email. That shouldn't happen anymore. Your questions should come through our patient membership site. There is a form at the bottom of nearly every page where submit your Zoom call questions, and on the Zoom call question page. See it right here, Zoom calls. We'll click on that. So there's multiple pages in this site. It is literally a brand new website, and it's got things on there that are only available to our patients. So please, I spent a lot of time putting the information together. A lot of your questions that you ask may already be answered on a short little video on that site. So look for that. That's where all these Zoom call recordings will be placed as well. You can see last week's Zoom call on this site when you go to Zoom calls. So they'll always be uploaded and put out here for future use. So if you can't find that, then go to this. If you search for this and you still don't see an invite, then email our clinic saying, I can't find my invite, and we can resend it to you somehow. So please look for that. All right, let's get to your questions. I'm on a medication, and do I need to take the medicine several hours away from the right? It doesn't make a difference what medication it is. Um, uh, can you not take your medication while you're using the rice? The answer is no, that makes no difference whatsoever. Here's a question. Maybe they're thinking, should I not do the Ion Pro Wave right after I take my medication? Will it pull the medication out of my body? There's no evidence of that either. So you don't have to worry about timing with Rife use. You don't have to worry about timing with Ion Pro Wave use. As far as use of any medication, there should be no interference with that. How often do I need to do coffee enemas? Well, that depends on you. You should ask your liaison, that person. I don't know who asked this question. So typically we recommend coffee enemas daily. Some people can't do them daily because they have rectal cancer. They can't do them at all. So everybody's a little bit unique with that. Personally, I don't do coffee enemas at all. Well, I shouldn't say that because I did one last a couple weeks ago, but but I don't do them regularly anymore. So um, that's just for me. That's myself and timing and busyness of life. So I don't do them on a regular basis, but it doesn't mean you can't do them on a regular basis. So if a person's in a lot of pain, they have a lot of inflammation, or they have any edema buildup in their gut or their lungs, then it's typically recommended that you do more than one coffee enema a day. We've had people do 5 coffee enemas a day. Well, what's the purpose of that? I'm not constipated. Go back to understand what the purpose of a coffee enema is. The purpose of the coffee enema is to stimulate your parasympathetics. And by stimulating the parasympathetics, you help block pain pathways as well. So by doing coffee enemas, you can help mitigate pain. And again, you could do a very simplified version of a coffee enema. Oh, there's no way I can lay down on my side and do a coffee enema the way it's recommended. I can't, it's hard for me to get up. That causes more pain. You could go do a coffee enema standing in the shower, hold it for 2-3 minutes, and then go void. That's still going to stimulate your parasympathetic. So you can get creative with these things. So I talked to somebody the other day that, oh, making the coffee in the pot the way it's recommended on your videos that's just, oh my gosh, it's just hard for me. I live alone. Goodness sakes, get some organic coffee, brew it in your coffee maker, and then cool it with water and use that. Doing any form of coffee enema like this is going to be beneficial. It doesn't have to be. Don't get hung up on what's perfect. Um, and then not do it because of that reason. I'm wondering if Dr. Connors is able to send orders for a blood transfusion. No, we can't do that. So we can't send orders for a blood transfusion. We can't send orders for a CT scan or an MRI or even an ultrasound. You're going to have to get that from a primary physician locally. Thankful for more energy and stamina. I'm following my protocol and seeing results. Bladder cancer is hard to status, but today I feel well and I know the angel of the Lord encamps around me. Amen. God is using the story he has given me in cancer to speak of his goodwill. Still praying for you, Dr. Connors. Thank you, thank you. The joy of the Lord is my strength. Praise God. Well, God is good always, even if we're not doing better, even if I'm getting sicker, even if I might pass away from this cancer, it doesn't change the goodness and the greatness of God in my life. I trust in his sovereignty in all things, and praise God for that. I'm trying to be proactive with having unvaxxed friends with my blood type to donate blood for me in case I need another transfusion. Good idea. I know there's a lot of vaccinated people on here. I'm not trying to insult you, and I know this person has no idea that they're not trying to insult anybody either. But the vaccine itself, and we were talking about the COVID vaccine, has factors in it that I personally wouldn't want to put into my veins. So I contacted Memorial Blood Bank today. This can be done. So this is good information. That's why I put it up here. It takes about 7 business days for the time of donation to be available to me. First step, I need ordering doctor to fill out this form on this page. So you can utilize this form if you need to receive blood and you want people to donate blood for you, so that can be stored for you. Great information. Thank you to the person who submitted this. This can be beneficial to a lot of people. Next question. Some naturopaths, Dr. Morse for one, suggests that the kidney should be filtering. So urine appears cloudy or has particulates in it. That this is an indication that the lymph, kidney, adrenals are working correctly. I understand that if you are not showing sediment in your urine, you are not getting rid of acidic waste and your lymph system is not working optimally. Now, I really don't understand this process or whether the kidney's filtering is truly necessary. Could you please talk on this subject? Yeah, so I would not agree with this comment whatsoever. When you do a UA, a urine analysis, that's one of the things that the test strip is looking for is sediment or cloudy urine. That's a sign of possible infection and some other things. So it certainly is not a sign of acidic waste. Matter of fact, typically cloudy or sediment in your urine is going to be calcium particulates, which is going to cause the urine to be more alkaline, not acidic. So I'm not sure where this is coming from a physiological standpoint. Your kidneys um, are an essential part of your detoxification process and a major organ of detoxification, along with your liver, your gallbladder, your large intestine, and your skin. So it is necessary for them to be working, but I wouldn't be concerned about whether there's sediment in my urine or not. I could be wrong, just telling you my opinion. With colon cancer, following my Connor's clinic protocol, how do we determine progress is being made? That is, what testing, and is there a suggested interval, months to 3 months, etc.? Certainly there is the option of CT scans, MRIs, and maybe even a scope inspection of the colon. But what do clients do to arrange those? Do they enlist their oncologist? I'm hesitant to ask my oncologist to do those things, especially for not participating in their recommended therapy. Good question. So this is a video that I actually created on our membership site. So on our membership site, you go to that, you can look at, well, how do I know I'm getting better video? And you can watch that video and help understand that. But in short, yes, the best way to know whether your cancer is improving or not is to compare apples to apples. If you have a CT scan that measures a tumor of 4.5 centimeters round, then another CT scan best done by that same uh, hospital or clinic, measuring that in a comparative study would be the best way to compare whether my cancer is getting better or not. But most of my patients don't want to keep doing CT scans, crying out loud. That's a lot of radiation. I don't want to keep doing that. Is there another way to test? Well, that's where you go to that video on the membership site. You can use tumor markers. Some cancers don't show tumor markers. What am I supposed to do? Well, we used to have the Navarro test. Well, that is being backed up, and some people have said that they're not even accepting tests right now because cancer is literally going like wildfire around the world, and they are backed up and they can't even accept any more tests. Well, we used to have the IBGene, but during COVID, they ended up closing because they didn't have enough business. So it is difficult to know how to measure progress sometimes. This is why I tell people it's best not to burn your bridges with your oncologist. Just kindly say, can I get back to you when I want to start something? I just don't want to start something right now. Would you help me with testing as I try to do some things on my own? If they say no, it's my way or the highway, then find another oncologist. They're all over the place. Go to somebody else and say, hey, this guy just booted me because I wouldn't do his protocol. I'm trying to pray about my situation and make a decision as best for me. I just want somebody to monitor it. 9 times out of 10, you're going to find the next person go, oh, well, we'll take care of you. We're not a my way or the highway place. We want to just support you and serve you, thinking, that's really their desire, or thinking that, hey, if they use us down the road, that is great. So that's my suggestion. So yes, there is no, magic bullets out there of testing that you could measure progress with. There's this limited technology that exists today. Unfortunately, hopefully at some time in the future that will change. With the Navarro test on standby and no options for IBGene test, note my CEA, not CAE, markers are in normal range, not sure of a cancer marker test worth doing. So yeah, it becomes difficult, like I said. You could do the CA-125 possibly with colon cancer. I've even had some colon cancers show up at 27, 29, but that's more rare. You could look at other markers too, other inflammatory markers possibly. But yeah, there's nothing that's going to be perfect. And quite honestly, even the gold standard CT scans isn't perfect. So you could get false positive growths and false positive shrinkages. Usually not that, but usually false positive growths are called pseudo growths that are not beneficial at all to see. So yeah, that's something that is just difficult to deal with. Trust me, I don't want yet another supplement, but I'm curious about the iron I'm taking for anemia. Since cancer likes iron, I'm wondering about artemisinin in my particular case. So yeah, typically when a person is taking iron, we recommend taking artemisinin with it. But artemisinin has been found to follow iron, and artemisinin can be a cancer killer, especially if it can be inside of a cancer cell. But so can some other things too. So don't sell that short. Maybe it's best just to take your iron with your other supplements so that it can follow other things can take along with. There's just not research on everything else, but we just don't know what could possibly happen. So maybe try taking it just with your other supplements and not add artemisinin at this point in time. Certainly you can, but again, I'm in favor of less is more. What's the difference between ivermectin and fenbendazole? If tested well for fenbendazole, does that mean ivermectin would be good to take with it or in replacement of it? Or should I just stop taking ivermectin and just take the fenbendazole? I'd say the last thing. You should just stop taking the ivermectin unless you feel like that is helping too, but they're totally different drugs. So they're very different. So you can't switch them out. So it's not a flip-flop. They could both be helpful. There's studies on ivermectin with cancer, but before they thought anybody would use it. But they're not interchangeable. I recently got an OAT test. That's an organic acid test results. For Evan, he has high oxalates. We are reducing them in his diet, giving magnesium citrate. So magnesium citrate can help bind to oxalates in the gut. Magnesium citrate is really good if you're constipated too. So, and using Epsom salt baths. I will add calcium citrate because calcium citrate can bind to oxalates in the gut as well. When I have his constipation under control, I wanted to check to see if BAM, it's our brain anti-inflammatory mix, or TumeroClear would be high in oxalates. I'd say no. So continue to take those. I got a hair analysis back from Doctor's Data, and using Andy Cutler's counting rules. Andy Cutler's really an expert. He was really an expert in heavy metal detox and such. On his essential elements, he meets one rule. There is low mercury in the toxic elements, but in my experience, that is only from fish, and he only eats salmon on occasion. It isn't the worst hair test I've ever seen, but it indicates some mercury toxicity. Is this dangerous to address at this point? Will that be necessary at some point? So the real question is, when you're dealing with cancer and you have a toxicity that you know you have, we've dealt with this with dental issues. Hey, I know I have toxic teeth that I want to deal with. There are mercury in my mercury fillings that I want to get out. Should I get those out right now? I say slow down, wait until we get things balanced out, and then we can deal with purposefully pulling mercury out of your teeth through a biological dentist. You don't want to spill too many toxins, and you can do that if you're using chelators, strong chelators. You don't want to do that, especially when you're dealing with cancer, because that could cause an inflammatory reaction, especially with brain cancer. So I would say wait on those things. Remember to go back to the website and download the 7 phases of detoxification, because that will explain to you that though, yes, you might do a specific chelation for a heavy metal or something like that, or if you're going to have the mercury out of your teeth, but detoxification is a process that you're doing constantly, and you're supporting those pathways constantly. It is in what I call phase 0 of the detoxification phases, the 7 phases, where you are actually trying to use a product to chelate. So you're grabbing onto something in the tissue, pulling it out of the body. You want to make sure you're supporting all those other phases before you're doing that, and before you get too aggressive doing that, at least. And that you've calmed down any other inflammation in the body, and you feel like you're healthier, in a healthier state to be able to do that. So we don't want to overwhelm things. Last reminder is please mail your cheek swabs to this address. It is on the what? It's on the membership site too. So on the membership site, you have the cheek swab download, and where you can order cheek swabs from our website, and it has that address on there too. So if you arrived at this call late on the Zoom call, make sure that you get on our membership site. And again, how do I get on your membership site? I don't know. I'm confused. I don't remember anything about a membership site. Search for, through your main email, search for info@connorsclinic.com, or search membership in your main email, and you should see an invite. Follow that invite, the directions, create using your username of the email. That's what's going to be your only choice. Create a password and get on our membership site, where you can see lots of pages, new pages that only members can see, and a lot of questions answered, and you can get these Zoom calls that are recorded and downloaded and put onto that site. Remember to email your cheek swabs back to there again. Okay, let's jump to some questions that you've said. Here's one comment. I have been making my coffee for my coffee enema concentrate 4 days worth at a time. After that, I refrigerate, then I dilute back to normal to use daily. Do you see any problem with that? No, that's a great way to do it. But there's some people that are very ill and not feeling well, and they just, oh, I want to do a coffee enema, but I didn't make any coffee. That's where I was talking about earlier about, just brew a cup of coffee and use that. So try to keep it simple, make it easy so that you can do it, so you don't feel like you have to follow all these rules in order to get good results. Can a drop of frankincense increase white blood cells? I don't know. I've never seen any data on that conclusively. I don't know. Should we not take any supplements 2 hours before and after Rife? No, you should be taking, again, the Rife isn't going to impede on your supplements, on your medication. You take your supplements while you're doing the Rife. You can eat dinner while you're doing the Rife. You could play chess while you do the Rife. You could do an Irish jig while you're doing the Rife. If you can, please send a video of that though, because we'd like to get that up on the membership site. That would be wonderful. Suggestions for help with hot flashes with ER, PR negative and HER2 positive breast cancer. So hot flashes have to do with fluctuation of estrogen. And the first step that I would go to with hot flashes with breast cancer, even if you're ER, PR negative and HER2 negative, I would still go to adaptogens. So remember that the majority of your estrogen is created by your ovaries, but your adrenals also create some estrogen too. That's why when you go through menopause, or if you have a hysterectomy, you still have estrogen. Well, where's that coming from? It's coming from your adrenal glands. So if you're having fluctuations of estrogen causing hot flashes, then what you want to do is start with um, supporting adrenals. So there's adaptogens that I'd recommend. Um, ask your you're already on adaptogens, and then ask your liaison because it might not be that adaptogen. Using maca, we use a product called Estrovite with some people, but I want to make sure we test it on you um, because it does have soy isoflavones in it, um, which which can affect estrogen levels for people that are HER2 positive. Doesn't always, so if a test's okay, then it's okay to use, but we should test that. Should I discontinue supplements that require food when using the Prolon? No, no, I would just take it with your meal with Prolon. So when you're doing your soup with the FMD, so if you don't know what Prolon FMD, it's a fasting mimicking diet product that gives you 5 days of food, but it's not much food. So it keeps you under a calorie content that you are, it mimics fasting in your body without increasing IGF-1 levels. So it's ideal for cancer patients because if you do a long-term fast as a cancer patient, the negative is that you will raise IGF-1 levels. Now that's not bad if you don't have cancer, but if you have cancer, that can not be a good thing. So if you're going to do a fast more than 24 hours, we recommend doing what's called fasting mimicking diet. The company that makes that is a company called Prolon. The researcher is, I forgot his name, but he's out of University of Southern California School of Medicine. Brilliant guy. I've heard him speak a couple times. I've done the Prolon FMD multiple times. My staff has done it multiple times. We've had different patients do it. It can be really good. You do not want to even consider this if you're kind of at your perfect weight or a little below, because you will probably lose weight on this. But if, hey, I could, it wouldn't hurt me to lose a little weight and I really want to clean myself out and do a fast, then the FMD is a great choice for you. Great for a person who doesn't have cancer, also especially for pre-diabetic patients that want to really help control blood sugar and people that have oxidized LDLs with heart issues. Great product for fasting, and you feel like you're pretty hungry, but it's not a 5-day fast like a full water fast. You can certainly take your supplements at the time that you eat your soup meals. They're all dehydrated. Your soup meals or your olives. Olives are delicious. Or your teeny little bar. So yeah. So hopefully everybody has gotten on the patient membership site. We received several of these questions that came in that we talked about from people that jumped on that site and used that form and sent in their questions, and that was great. So remember to do that, and we'll be able to get your questions answered as best as possible. And you'll be able to see all the Zoom calls on there. Any other questions? Early night tonight or what? Can you explain how IGF-1 goes up when fasting? No, that's above my pay grade. It just does. After about 24 hours of fasting, your IGF-1 levels go up. All right. Well, thank you guys all for being on here. Also on the patient membership site, if you guys have ideas for short little videos for me to create, um, please, add it as a question. I might add it to our question in the Zoom call, but I'm going to be creating some other short videos so that you don't have to be waiting for the Zoom call for your questions to be answered. We want the Zoom call for your questions to be answered, but we rather have you have your questions answered before waiting for 5 days for the Zoom call. And we would like this to be more of a support group. So we're always here for you. So please utilize that site and give us ideas for improvement in that as well. And again, for all of you know that I'm praying for you daily, and cherish your prayers for us as well. Well, thank you guys, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.